The marching arts are all about the performers, their passion, dedication, and artistry. I'm Steve McCarrick, and on this episode of On a Water Break, we're excited to speak with Kaia Ro, a talented member of Onyx, one of the most artistic units in WGI. Kaia, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here. Thanks so much.
Yeah, totally. I feel like I don't talk to enough Colorguard people, so I'm glad to get you in. But we can start it off with just a quick introduction. Usually, what we do is like your life story in 32 counts. So I'll start a met. It'll give you like four slow counts, and then you're in. Sounds good?
Oh God. Okay.
It's exactly as much time as you need, but here we go.
Oh gosh. Okay. So I'm from Virginia. Right now I live in Dayton. This metronome is like making me sweaty. I'm not even gonna lie. I started as a dancer, and then from there I did color guard all throughout my high school career. From there, I did Stonewall Independent in 2016 and 2017, and which was an open class group. They turned into George Mason University Winter Guard in 2018. I merged Carolina Crown. Oh no!
You can finish though. You can
Okay, cool.
finish.
Yes. Let's see. I marched Carolina Crown in 17, 18, and 19. I was captain in 2019. I marched Rhythm X in 2020, and I marched Onyx in 2019, and then in 2022 and 2023.
Yeah, wow, that is a very long marching career.
Yeah, 32 counts is not enough for me.
Was it always your goal to wind up at Onyx, or how'd you end up there?
I don't know if it was always my goal to end up at Onyx. I think yes. Michael Lentz actually designed the shows at Stonewall Independent when I was there, and he still does. He still designs the shows at George Mason University. So
Okay.
ever since I've been in independent color guard, Mike has always been involved in the programs that I've been involved in. So it seemed like a no-brainer to eventually end up at Onyx.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do think like oftentimes you kind of just get like carried along a path of the
Yeah.
people that you learn from. So like that totally kind of just went as far as you could take that ball. But you've marched then, I guess, in Rhythm X where we marched together. We also aged
Yep.
out at Crown together. But you've marched at Rhythm X, so you're kind of done percussion at the top end, and you've done color guard at the top
Yeah.
end of the activity. Are there any like big similarities or big differences that you noticed from your two experiences?
Um, I mean, obviously, the biggest difference is the component of live music. I thought, honestly, marching Rhythm
Hmm.
X was probably the most similar to marching drum corps that you could get in an indoor setting. And because of the live music aspect, it's a lot different than in color guard where your music is just playing over the speaker, and sometimes if the crowd is too loud you can't hear your music, which sometimes is really difficult.
Right. Yeah, I didn't
But
consider that at
like,
all.
yeah, marching Rhythm X, it was definitely really different performance wise, because it was easier to pull from like the energy on the floor because the music was happening on the floor with you.
Okay, yeah, that is interesting. And I guess like the impression I get of Color Guard and especially like a group like Onyx is that I think there's way more artistic like intention going on and maybe more complex like types of things that you're trying to get the audience
Yeah,
to
for
feel.
sure.
So I feel like you kind of get to just go run through it like drum corps for a percussion group when you have to do a lot more. Uh, you're a lot more exposed in color guard. But anyway, we've talked about your show a lot this season already on the
Oh, really?
podcast. Actually, could you, yeah, we did. We had on a guest from Canada who really loved Onyx and specifically your show this year. So I think we all watched it and we've talked about it a little bit. But could you catch listeners up and maybe explain the concept and how you bring it all
Yeah,
to
for
life?
sure. Tarantella, that's Onyx in 2023. That's our show. Uh, a lot of people get hung up on the aspect of, oh my gosh, this show is for sure about spiders. Which, sure, yeah, tarantella, that is, tarantula, yes. But what the show is really about, I don't know if it's like really a legend or more of like a saying, but I guess there is something out there that's kind of like this person gets bit by a spider, and you either dance so hard that you dance the venom out, or you dance until you die. And that's kind of like the
Hmm.
concept behind the show.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. And then I thought it was really cool. It seems like you do a lot of unique choreography that kind of pertains into that like spider idea. Um, what kind of like things do you do to bring to life the idea of like a spider in color guard?
There's a lot of see in the show. There's a lot of the dancers, they will pile on top of each other so that it looks like their arms and legs are like the 8 legs of the
Mm,
spider. We do a lot of crawling around, and then
yeah.
also to get more of the imagery of going crazy. Like there is that part in the show. We all go to the back of the floor and we're in a group together, and we all just like kind of twitch. And we're like literally just going crazy before this
Hmm.
like little dance break that we have.
Yeah, and I think I see that too. It seems like sometimes people are portraying that like deadly, like chaotic element, and other times people are portraying like the artistic, like dance, the toxic type of element of the
Yeah.
show that you bring together. That's pretty interesting. We definitely already liked it a lot every time we were watching, but I don't think I knew it quite as well. If you were to look and think about like Onyx as a whole, maybe not just this year, what do you think makes like Onyx unique?
Oh man. Yeah, Onyx is definitely, I would say Onyx is different from any other organization I've ever been a part of, like period. The first time I saw Onyx was
Hmm.
actually in 2017 at the Pittsburgh Regional. If you haven't seen that show, it's called Bizarre Bazaar. Um, that is the show that like made me want to march
Okay.
Onyx. And the thing about that show and the thing about Onyx in general, and really what it is that makes them so unique, is that they're always just going to do whatever they want. Onyx is always just going to be Onyx and do whatever Onyx wants to
Right.
do. And then they kind of just put it in a competitive space. So they always have these little Easter eggs in their shows. Like in 2019, there was somebody who just pulled out a pack of gum at the front of the floor and just like shoved a whole pack of gum in their mouth. It was just chewing gum on the floor.
It's like modern art in color
um,
guard in some way.
yeah, it
Abstract
really
modern
is.
art.
Yeah, that show Shelter in Place was about a storm, and the whole concept behind that, like aside from just being just a little fun thing that they put in the show, but the concept behind it was, when you're sheltering in a storm, there's all these different types of people there, and that was portraying like the nervous chewer.
Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So there's always little Easter eggs like that.
I like it out of context too, yeah. Someone should take,
Yeah.
like, an action shot right then, and,
Yes. So there is that. And then also in 2019, there was a performer at the end of the show who ended up taking his uniform off. And we had an extra uniform that year, and we ended up just like hanging it on one of our 2x4s. And it was supposed to be like the storm blew his uniform off, and it was just stuck in a tree.
yeah, yeah.
So a lot of things like that.
How does the show actually, like, come together? Because at least to make a comparison in percussion, some groups know exactly what they wanna do, and they try to do it early, and they try to get it clean. Other groups spend, like, a long time designing and redesigning and redesigning. Like, how does the show come together at Onyx?
It's definitely design and then redesign. The show is always evolving, and we're going to get changes even all the way up to the end.
Right.
But Mike likes to tell us that, um, in a sense, the cast kind of picks the show.
Mhm.
So he has like a list of ideas, I guess, that he just has in his arsenal, and then depending on the cast and the personality of the cast, or the different ranges of talent for that year, can kind of swayed which show it is he wants to do that year.
That's pretty cool, and it gives like credence to the idea that it is all like member based and performer based out there. That like
Hmm.
it really is just what the members are going to put together each year. They're just guided. Anyway, we're going to pop over to a commercial break now, but stick around. We got more good content with Kaia around the corner.
Let's go. Set it up.
Top of the show.
Hey everyone, this is Jackie, one of your hosts from the On a Water Break podcast.
Form, check.
We know you are getting
Cover
excited
down.
about WGI World Championships coming up soon, and we are too.
Do it again.
So make sure you tune
it
in
back.
to our special predictions episodes coming up this week.
And we'll see you at the show.
Hey, this is Christine Ream.
And Chris Green.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs.
Our consignment inventory has plenty of great looks for your color guard, drumline, and marching band.
Pay it forward. When you purchase consignment, you help other programs. Last year, we sold over 400 sets of consignments and returned over $125,000 in payments to our consigners for their sales.
Additionally, Guard Closet offers custom and pre-designed costumes, flags, floors, and formal wear, full or partial show writing, educational programming, and other services.
Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
The Guard Closet team is here to help you get everything you want and need for your season. Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
Hey everyone, it's Tim Hinton, the beast of the marching arts, here from the Marching Roundtable podcast. I got to tell you, this week's podcast, I think you'll really enjoy it. It's called Trusting Your Gut in the Creative Process. Jessica Slaybaugh talks with Zachary Barber, and they do it in the context of creating a winter guard show. But it's all about kind of figuring out if things are going well when you're putting your show together, when to know when to pivot, maybe make some changes. I think you'll enjoy that conversation. Next week, on Monday, April 10th, Matt James is here as part of our series on 3 things I wish I'd known when I first started teaching. Matt James, of course, was the director of bands at Lawrence Central High School and had those wonderful shows and wonderful bands for so many years. I'm sure that you'll be interested in hearing what he has to say, advice for you as you're doing your own teaching, especially if maybe you're early in your career. And then the week after, on Monday, April 17th, well, I gotta tell you, you can't always have a great podcast. I had a hard time finding a guest, so I'm going to be talking with this group from this new podcast called On a Water Break. And, you know, it may not be our best episode ever, but I think you'll enjoy hearing from some of the hosts. They seem to have thousands of them, but anyway, some of the hosts are on that to talk about how they put the podcast together and the lessons they've learned as they've started the process. So make a note, April 17th, a group from On the Water Break. And enjoy the podcast we have out now. And remember, you can find over 1,100 podcasts at our website at marchingroundtable.com. Hope that you'll go and listen and learn.
Kaia, on this show, every week we do a little segment. It's called March, Teach, Cut. Basically, the way we would start it off, if you could march in any show ever, which show would it be?
Definitely Onyx 2017 Bizarre Bazaar.
Okay. That makes sense. I feel like you don't even got to explain it. We already kind of explained that one.
Yeah.
If you could design any show that's not Onyx 2017 Bizarre Bazaar, which show would it be?
Oh man. Probably, I would say West Broward High School in 2018. Ooh. They did that that Macklemore song, Downtown. That show was really good.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that, just being a percussion guy. I'll have to go check that out after. You said Broward High School?
West Broward High School, yeah. In 2018. It was really cool. It was like a urban setting. Mm-hmm. It was very high energy, and it was like, I watched this show live because I don't really watch like videos of Colorguard, so these are all shows that I've seen live. But yeah, I remember just sitting in the finals audience because I was in open class that year and just being like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that these kids are in high school.
Yeah, I actually went to WGI Colorguard for the first time last year since I was in Dayton. And like I
Uh-huh.
was shocked. I've never seen that ever in my life until then. And it was like crazy, especially what some of the Texas high schools put together. I was like
Mhm.
blown away. Um,
It's definitely a different ball game from percussion finals.
yeah, I think there's like more competitive groups in color guard and just more ensembles period. It's like hard to make finals
Yeah.
in the first place. Um,
Mhm.
if you had to cut a show from history, what would it be?
Oh man. Cut a show from history. That sounds so harsh. I don't know. I feel like
It's usually the hardest
there's
of the three.
in man oh man, in 2016, Blessed Sacrament did a show called Symbolism,
Uh-huh.
which I don't know, maybe you might be interested into, but they had a bunch of cymbals on the floor, like actual like boom crash
Oh,
cymbals.
okay.
And they were like hitting them throughout the show, and they like moved them around, and the percussive aspect of those cymbals was part of the show. And I don't necessarily think that I would cut it from existence, but I think the concept of either being a member in that show or teaching that show, like with the added risk and responsibility
Hmm.
of not only doing your choreography or being a choreographer, and having all of the responsibilities of being a member on the floor, and then also having to hit the cymbal at the right time or not knock it over. I feel like that would just be super stressful for me, at least.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like designing a percussion show and like asking for 5 to 10 color guard people to come out and
Yeah.
giving all of the members of the drumline rifles that they still have in their basement 3 years later. It's not
Yeah.
a not a great idea. But word. And then to wrap up, if our listeners wanted to find a video of you performing, what do you think is like a good video they could go look up?
um I mean, really any video from Carolina Crown 17, 18, or 19, or
Hmm.
Onyx in 2019 that you might be able to find on YouTube that may or may not be a multicam that may or may not exist out there. Those are good ones. um, Carolina Crown in 2019, they did Emily and Laurel put together a practice the way you perform video,
Hmm.
that I think was on their Facebook page. That one was, I thought, was a nice video that kind of shows it like cut between a rehearsal video and that point in the show, and it was I thought really well
Yeah, that's cool.
produced.
Yeah, that's cool. Shout out Emily and Laurel. They were the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah, for real. In 2019, also, I was in the WGI montage, which was really lit because Stonewall Independent never made it on the montage. And then the first time I marched Independent World, I was in the montage because I was the girl with the flag in the hair.
Yeah, you were like standing on the shoulders of giants before you, just reaping all of the benefit of that one.
Yes.
Right person, right time.
And going bald.
Word. Well, what's your social media? That way our listeners could follow you. And then we'll wrap up.
Yeah. I'm just on Instagram. You can find me at Kaia the Roaster. That's KAIA underscore the THE and underscore roaster ROASTER.
Great. Well, Kaia, thank you for coming on. I'm sure a lot of folks involved with the show and folks listening will come watch you in a week or so, give or take. And good luck at finals.
Thanks.
Well, that wraps up our last Color Guard Spotlight for WGI Finals 2023. Thank you, Kaia, and thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with a friend, follow us on Spotify or Apple Music, and reach out to us on social media. Maybe we'll feature you soon on an episode of Performer Spotlight. See you in Dayton.